Hey, how's it going, y'all? Back with another weekly manga review. I am so sorry for how late this is coming out. Coming out on the hour that the new manga should be releasing on the Shonen Jump app. For sure, for next week, I'm gonna be more timely with it. Hopefully by Tuesday, if possible. Wednesday latest. But let's just go ahead and jump right into it because we have a lot to cover for today. We're gonna start it out kind of small and build up to the big stuff because anyone who knows me knows I'm a One Piece fan and One Piece I adore. So let's just start though with some Kaiju number 8. Simple things. We got a little bit of a glimpse of Kafka doing his training for the squadron fighting style. He also gets his phone back, which he was afraid to turn on because he's like, well, what if the guys at the old squad hate me for what I am now? And now that they know my secrets, he ends up getting his wits together, turns on the phone. Ooh, just messages. He's afraid to check them, but then he gets a call, which he accidentally ignores. Gets another call from another one, I think Iharu, answers that, and essentially just gets yelled at for not calling. And it's like, he was like, well, I thought y'all would be afraid of me because of what I am. And they were like, you idiot, we are afraid, but we're also worried. You saved us. It was good. It was nice. It was wholesome. And they're all waiting for him to come back. So we'll see how this continues. Moving on, we've got a super smartphone. Kind of easy. You get a nice little scene of Mura beating up the attackers to help Pseudonym escape, but there's still a bit too many of them for him to handle solo. So Pseudonym using Mura to use his own smartphone because Pseudonym can't use Mura's smartphone, makes Mura basically go, hey, alert the police, alert all of the phones, television, screens, whatever, all around this neighborhood to what's happening here of two guys getting attacked by a bunch of thugs. And that goes ping, ping, ping all over the place. And voila, the attackers have to fall back because now they're being watched and they're not supposed to get caught. As they're running off though, they were like, yo, something's up with that smartphone. So they're like, it has a power or something. So they're getting suspicious of the smartphone. We go to Pianissimo. One of these days I'll figure out if I got that right. We'll see. We get essentially Raggio's response to Rin's cry for him to be defeated in battle, essentially. Rin also is sad though, but he's just like, I will beat you and come back to me because you were my hope. It's a line we've heard somewhere before, I think, right? And it's something to do with space or something, I think. Speaking of space, the Earthchild. So we get a little bit of a time skip here, and we get a little brief glimpse into the normal life that they have earned by now having essentially 2.5 Earth children plus the amplifier. It's a funny little thing because you've got Sawada, his wife, they're all lovey-dovey, cuddly, and it's adorable, and their son is just like embarrassed of them and doesn't want anyone to know about them. And occasionally they use telepathy for the wrong reasons, like letting Mamoru, I forgot the kid's name already, the kid knows, like, oh, you left your lunch at home, boy. And it's like, that's a reason for using telepathy? No, it's not. They get a call though for there is a hurricane that's threatening Earth type thing, but it's not like super deadly because you get that little moment of Mamoru going, is this my final destiny thing? And his mom being like, do you hear a voice telling you exactly what to do? No, then it's not. Which I just love that. That's the tell. A weird thing happens. There's like some wind that looks like it's attacking them, but it ends up dodging the 2 Earth children and going for Sawada. So it's like This time the destructive force is attacking Swada, not necessarily the Earth. They end up beating it, clearing the sky of this hurricane, and immediately, boom, 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 like a bunch more appear. And in the eye of the storm of one of them, down descends God, aka the death chick with the Earth lollipop. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know if we're gonna get a fight here, some sort of struggle, maybe. I don't know. Doron Doron. It's a setup chapter with a little bit of backstory. We finally freaking see what's her face, Ginchio again for the first time in ages. Find out, turns out her whole thing of I want to grow in the ranks so that I can be at the top and have riches and live a luxury life. Not entirely true. It's not for rich and fame, oddly enough. Sounds familiar. I think of Ochako from My Hero. It's because apparently she grew up with Mr. Sleepy Boy officer dude, who's like super powerful and stuff, who apparently got a well night's rest for this fight. Interesting. Apparently she knows him well, and he's like, she looks up to him, and he in a sense begrudgingly joined the samurais. So her whole thing is she's gonna rise to the ranks, get to the top, and fire him so he doesn't have to be a samurai anymore. That's the plan. That's her plan. I'm not entirely sure who the exact matchups are, but we do get the 3 teams of the officers or the head dudes who are going to be fighting off with the minions of the big bad, and their team ups are, because as we all well know in this by this 3rd episode, and if you haven't, you are now learning, I am terrible with names. So we're starting out. We've got the teams. We have Ginchio and Sleepy Boy. We have the spiky haired chick who's in love with Dora, and the other chick that's a part of the officers group. Then you've got on the 3rd team, you have the guy who's like super hella intense with the glasses, and it's just like, and he's upset because his buddy got killed and eaten. And he is teaming up with Mr. Calm, Cool, and Collected bowl haircut dude, who I'm pretty sure I don't know his name. He was probably introduced at some point, but I don't remember. Moving on to another simple review, I guess, recap. I guess these are more like recaps than reviews, but it's just, I get so excited with all these. If I'm recapping it, my review is that it's good and worth reading, essentially. Aliens Arena's next. Tatsunami, the main character, Mr. MC, learns that not all the alien encounters he's going to get with the, I forget what the branch is called, but the government group that he's with now, are not always going to be aggressive things that he has to fight. Sometimes it's just a matter of checking the papers, getting a talk and being like, look, what you're doing is bad for the environment here. Fix it. And just a nice little trade-off of things, which is really cool to see. And it's not an entire battle shonen like we're accustomed to. Next up, Mashal. Turns out I was doubly wrong on this one. Going to chick who's in love with Mashal, Mashal, who's in love with Mash. Her and Dino Kid are struggling to turn that key, so I was wrong there. And they just got invaded, I guess, essentially by some bad dude who's coming for Mash's head. So we've got that issue. We get the starts of 2 of the fights, which are Mr. Puddin guy, which starts with therapy. A therapy session, an invitation to join the cult of Puddinology, an invite to take a bite of some pudding. Turns out the pudding's a lie. Who would have done? The second fight that we get a glimpse at is with Rain and Finn. Find out that their opponent's like a party boy, Mr. Fretman type dude. And he's like, let's party, woo! And Rain decides to rain on his parade by attacking him and whatnot. Before he attacks him, though, he essentially uses his wand to throw Finn back into like some cage of swords thing, and it's just like, I told you, you'll just get in my way. And in the midst of throwing him like this aggressively, Finn dropped his wand, so something's gonna go there. We don't know exactly what yet. Rain does do some heavy damage, like legit just pierces the dude's head with the sword. But he's regenerating, so yeah, it turns out he can just regenerate faster than the wound can be made. Just tricky, but we'll see how they do that. All right, then we're gonna start with our triple threat of heat for this week. Starting out with Lemillion being like, yo, why do you want to destroy everything, Shigaraki? And Shigaraki is like, cause the system is broken and there's nothing worth not destroying. And Lemillion is just like, oh, I see. You never had friends. I read this and I was just like, it's like, Lemillion, you can't call out the boy like that. He's already mentally unstable as it is. What are you doing? But made a good point that if he did have friends, then he would know that there are still things worth not destroying out there. They do manage to save Bakugo from dying. He's badly hurt, and Genis is like, hey, let me suture you up so you can get back in there. Don't worry about it, because this guy's a lot harder than we thought he was gonna be. And then he notices that Bakugo's just sitting there going, right finger faint. And he's just muttering, like, I guess what Chigaraki's doing. And so Genis is just like, holy crackheads. This dude, friggin', even though he's like badly damaged, was like in the belly of the beast essentially. Shigaraki was just hoisting him up before they saved him. He's still like trying to predict Shigaraki's moves, trying to figure out what he would have to do to essentially, like, he's still in the fight. He is not down and out yet. He is ready to go back in there and wreck stuff. So that's great. Excited to see what happens there. That last final panel with Bakugo's face, and it was, oh, so good. So good. Next up, we have just a random drop of a Food War Shokugeki no Sanji. More backstory for Sanji. Still not sure if these are canon or not. Maybe semi-canon? I don't know. But it goes back in time further to when he was apprenticing on the Baratier as a child. He got bullied a lot, but you bully the new kid, essentially. He was also a little cocky, you know, being like, I can be your chef too, and all that stuff. But he would practice at night when everybody was asleep, feeding his food to a rat who was very pretentious, a pretentious rat. But some important customers like, hey, yo, I want Sanji to serve me. So I'll be back in a week for Sanji to serve me some food. So he gets a week to practice, to get ready. He gets all ready. He's confident. He's like, I'm going to get this done. And these other like chef dudes are like, I guess, worried that some kid's gonna show them up, which I'm just like, what? Like, if you were confident in your own abilities, you wouldn't be worried about some kid. But they were. So they decided, let's sabotage him and hide the meat that he was curing. So Sanji's like, well, that sucks. Something happened to the meat that was here. I wonder what happened. He's like, whatever, I'll go carve up this carcass of the same type of meat, just older. And they're like, you can't do that. It's like as tough as the hardest armor. And he's like, it can be done. And as a child, and he copies Chef Zeph, what he watched Chef Zeph do, gets it done, gets the customer served up, gets everything all ready. In the midst of it, you hear the chefs all being like, man, I thought he was gonna give up after we hid the meat. Gosh. And Zeph's like, what was that, boy? What was that, boy? He literally says that. He's like, what was that, boy? You messed with customer food? You messed with food meant for a customer? Oh, no, no, no. And they got what was coming for them, which was cool. Sanji impresses the customer greatly, of course, in the end. And lots of clothes explosions, even though None of the clothes explosion people are there, but you know, whatevs, I guess. In the end, we get a little scene of cut back to the future when Sanji is the sous chef. So for chef, that's a tongue twister. Sanji is the sous chef for chef, sous chef for chef, sous chef for Zep. I can't even say it slow. Sous chef for Zep. Sous chef for Chef Zeph. There we go. That's a tongue twister. What the heck? Finally, let's just get to the main event here. We have One Piece. We got a big one here. I thought it was going to be like a little mini reverie. Go back to the reverie, see what's going down, and just that. Just reverie stuff. No! Oda went in with the big bucks on this one. We get Green Bull hitting the Flower Capital, the Yamato and Samurai Squad being like, no, you ain't gonna get to Luffy and them. And then Momo comes in and is like, I owe them a promise of defending this land. And then he goes, Yamato, don't fight him, which I think is a more of a Momo's like, he needs to be the one to defend Wano country. I think that's what the deal is there. We get, what else do we get? We get Shanks. Also, my theory is Momo's gonna fight Green Bull, and I don't think he's gonna outright beat him, but I do think he'll do some damage, some heavy damage to Green Bull. We get some Shanks. Finally, it's been years. From Shanks, we learned three major things from Shanks. We learned that Bartholomew has been going around Shanks's territory, taking down his flag and putting up Luffy's. So Shanks is about to go beat the crap out of him. Second, we learn, well, it's not explicitly said, but it can be inferred that Shanks for sure knew that the Gomu Gomu no Mi was actually the Hito Hito no Mi Madonika, which would mean that when he, way back when he had the talk with Whitebeard, and Whitebeard was like, we were so surprised that you came back missing an arm, what happened to it? And Shanks was like, I bet it on the new era. He wasn't just talking about a new pirate era. He was talking about a new world era, which is Shanks. He knew things. He's known things. He knows a lot. And the third thing we get is that Shanks is also now going to make a move for the One Piece. So a theory I have on that is I don't think we're going to get the great Shanks and Luffy re-meet until we get to Laugh Tale. I feel like at Laugh Tale will be when we get the whole Luffy returning the hat to Shanks. And of course, Shanks is going to just give it straight back to Luffy. Back with the Reverie, we got newspaper that Sabo killed Cobra. Could be possible. Could not be. It could be that someone else killed Cobra and they're blaming it on Sabo. That's the theory I'm going with, because I just don't believe that Sabo would kill Cobra. Though he could because of the whole revolutionary thing. But it's tricky. It's a tricky situation. We learned that the revolutionaries destroyed a thing called the Hoof of the Celestial Dragons, which is like the symbol of the Celestial Dragons. So essentially doing that similar thing with when Luffy shot out the world government flag. It's them destroying that, declaring war on the Celestial Dragons. Same thing, which also is a really cool little parallel there. We get a couple parallels between Sabo and Luffy in this chapter. The next thing we get is we also get info that Fujitora Green Bull fought the revolutionaries. All of the revolutionaries managed to escape. Kuma was freed. So I'm thinking Kuma probably pawpawed the crap out of all the revolutionaries to get them out of there safely. Also, Vivi is missing, so I think Kuma pawpawed Vivi also out of there. My theory with that is that she's either going to appear in Wano or in Elbath. One of those two. She's going to pop back up soon, and she'll be finally joining the Straw Hats fully for their final go off to the thing. Because she's a descendant of the Celestial Dragons, so for sure I feel like she needs to be there for the final when they get to Laugh Tale. There's a mention of a thing called the 8-Nation Revolution. Don't know what that is. Apparently Sabo, people think Sabo is the mastermind behind it. The people are also now given Sabo the name of Flame Emperor, which is that other funny parallel I was talking about earlier between Sabo being the Flame Emperor and Luffy being an Emperor of the Sea. So that water and fire parallel there. And at the end, we get a little scene of Magma Boy being like, I will destroy them all. He's upset. He's just upset. But yeah, that's the end of this episode of the weekly manga review. This, like I said, will be coming out, should be coming out on the hour that the new chapter is released for everything. So yeah, and I'll be more timely this time with getting this out there. Thanks for watching, y'all. Comment down below what you think about these chapters or any of these. Have you picked any of these up from watching this? Let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.